welcome to Horror Side. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss our creepiest stories every day. Let's begin. This is Chemistry 101, a preparatory chemistry course designed to show you how chemistry is intimately involved in many aspects of our life. I will be... Everybody get under your desk now, and don't make a sound. This incident took place about 2 years ago, but I can still recall every moment in perfect detail, as if it happened yesterday. It was nearing the end of our school day, so everyone was on their way to the last period, which for me was chemistry. If I'm being honest with you, I wasn't the best student in that class, and to make matters worse, me and Mr. Nat, my chemistry teacher, didn't see eye to eye on so many things. It's easier to say I disliked him, so I didn't even have any motivation to show up for his class on most days. As any high school kid would do, I decided to ditch the session and hide in the bathroom stalls at the back of the school. No one ever went there, so I knew I wouldn't be caught. I hid in the furthest bathroom stall playing Minecraft on my phone, and just passing the time as I waited for the last session to be over. Suddenly, I heard a loud sound of Mr. Keamy, the principal, coming from the intercom. I almost jumped out of my skin. Lockdown! Lockdown! This is an emergency. Would you please follow the lockdown procedures? Go to the nearest room or building, lock the doors, and turn off all the lights. There it was, a lockdown announcement. At this moment, I didn't pay any attention. We used to have our school lockdown drills around this time of the semester, so I thought to myself, it's just the usual practice, blah, blah. I didn't pay much attention to the directives, so I just sat there in the stall as I waited for the drill to be over. But shortly after, all the lights to the school building went out at once. The hum of the light faded along with the buzzing of the school AC unit. I instantly knew all the power to the school had been cut off. Still then, I was wondering how far Mr. Keamy had planned to take the drill. At that moment, the bathroom stalls I was hiding in had gone pitch black. I don't do well in the dark, so I started getting worried. Our principal would always go to scary lengths during a lockdown drill, but one thing's for sure, he never had the power cut off. I decided to text my friend Berlin, who had attended the chemistry class, and asked what was going on. He answered almost immediately, saying, "Dude, where are you? This is not a drill. We have a real lockdown, and everyone is asking where you are." I told Berlin I was in the bathroom stalls at the furthest corner of the school. He responded, saying that I should hide, but I didn't have anywhere else to go. I couldn't just run into the hallway to find a better spot to hide. I decided to just stay in the stall I was in, turned my phone's brightness down, and texted Berlin again. This time, I asked him what the reason was for the emergency lockdown. He responded after 5 minutes, what felt like an eternity. Eventually, he texted me back saying that a kid had been spotted with a knife banging on the classroom doors asking to be let in. Although further apart, both my classroom and bathroom were on the same floor. I decided to switch off my phone, then listened in to see if I could hear anything strange. There were running footsteps, followed by the sound of the bathroom door opening, then closing. I was horrified. I decided just to keep calm and see what happens. Whoever had entered walked towards the stall next to me, went inside, and shut the door behind him. I held my breath for what seemed like forever, but I knew I had to break the silence. In a shaky voice, I said, "Who's in here with me?" There was an uncomfortable silence for a second. Then I heard a voice reply, saying, "I'm just looking for a place to hide. I heard over the school intercom there was a lockdown." That didn't answer my question, but I decided just to let it go, since the guy sounded around my age. We sat there in awkward silence for what seemed like an eternity when finally we heard another announcement over the speakers. All students should exit the school in an orderly fashion through the front doors. Cops are waiting outside. I immediately exited the stall I was hiding in, but whoever was hiding next to me didn't. "Dude, are you coming?" But he replied saying, "Yeah, man. Just give me a couple of more minutes." It sounded weird, but regardless, I just left the bathroom and walked into the hallway towards the front exit to the school. As I was heading towards the door, I heard a notification on my phone. I decided to stop for a bit and check. Berlin had texted me again. He said that a kid, a bit older than us, had tried to rob a nearby gas station at knife point. He explained that the guy had actually stabbed a couple of people, but when he failed to get any money, he ran to hide in our school to blend in as one of the students. It sounded scary, but what mortified me the most was the last sentence. He said the cops outside were saying the kid was still in the school, probably hiding somewhere at the back of the school. When I read this, I charged into a full-on sprint. As I got outside, I immediately informed one of the police officers what I had experienced. They went on to search the bathroom, but it was empty. However, the bathroom window in the stall he was hiding had been broken. Clearly, he had escaped through the window. Over the next school days, I got a lot of unwanted attention for what had happened. What I know so far is that this kid still hasn't been caught. I still have a hard time coming to terms with the fact I was unknowingly hiding in a stall right next to one person everybody was trying to hide from. I just landed my first teaching job at a public elementary school in my neighborhood. I was so excited, as this would be my first year to be teaching. It was already September, so I was still learning the ropes, as it was honestly pretty stressful, considering I had a first grade class with about 20 kids. Things would sometimes get very chaotic, especially for someone with my experience level. I was still new to all this. I remember one day, I was in the middle of assigning the kids a spelling worksheet when the principal's voice came over the school's intercom and ordered a lockdown. Now, being still very fresh in the school, I wasn't yet informed when the school had practiced the lockdown drills around the year. Therefore, I wasn't quite sure if this was a drill or not. Either way, I knew that I had to follow protocol. First things first, I turned down the lights in the room and locked all the doors and windows. I gathered all the kids and had them sit against the walls where they would be out of sight. After 5 minutes of complete silence in the room, I could faintly start hearing doors being banged on down the hallway. My heart started to race instantly as the bangs got louder and louder by the minute, and the person who was knocking on the doors got closer. At this point, I had no idea if it was the principal checking if all the classrooms had been locked, or if it was the actual intruder in the school. But my thoughts were interrupted by one of my students who burst out in a cry. This shrieking cry was too loud, and it was, no doubt, whoever was outside would have heard it. I could tell. In response to the noise, the banging outside stopped. Shortly after, there was a single pair of footsteps walking towards our classroom door. There was silence for a second, but a male's voice quickly broke the silence. "Guys, I think there are kids in this one." I instantly knew this was a real lockdown. There was no doubt about it. We heard more footsteps running towards our classroom door. The intruders now, at this point, made genuine attempts to break down our classroom door. I could tell there was more than one person at the door at that point. All hell had broken loose, and all the kids in the classroom were screaming and crying in fear. I didn't know what to do, honestly. At no point had I been trained for these kinds of situations. Just when I thought about what to do next, we heard 2 gunshots. However, these gunshots didn't come from the intruder. The police had now arrived at the school. Right after the gunshots had been fired, we heard the intruders running down the hallway. After sitting in the classroom with all 20 crying kids, we were given the all-clear directives after 30 minutes. It turned out that these intruders were 3 kids from a local high school. They were eventually caught, and when asked why they did it, they didn't want to say much. The police pushed one of the kids, who said that the intrusion was a bet. Personally, I didn't believe a word that kid said, even for a moment. There is no bet that's worth going to court over the way I see it, possibly even risking losing your freedom. I believe these 3 kids had far worse intentions than what they confessed to. The kids were traumatized for a very long time. The teachers as well. Luckily, no one was physically hurt. The police had fired the shots that we heard as warning shots to the intruders. In fact, these shots were aimed directly at the ground. It's now almost 2 years since this happened. I still teach first graders in the same class at the same school, and to this day, I still shiver at the thought of what could have happened to my students that day. Hey guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and to click on the subscribe button below. Turn on notifications so you get informed whenever we post our creepy content. And we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.